When you look at the overall performance on the NSE, we're up in today's session. The Naira is holding quite strong. It seems a bit of positive sentiment has come through to the market today.
Well, I guess you've had a couple of good days for the Naira and the NSE, so momentum is coming back into those markets. But again, you need to have a couple of months before you know exactly whether it's a long-term trend or if it's just part of a cycle. Absolutely.
So at least we're ending the week off on a positive note. But on Monday, we've got the CPI number set to be released. And of course, we have the MPC as well next week. What kind of scenario are you foreseeing into next week on the monetary policy front?
Well, I think next week is interesting. There's quite a lot of activity. I think on Monday, CPI, there'll probably be a marginal change from the previous month, marginally up or marginally down. It'll be really surprising to see anything as high as 13%, up from the 12.6 in the past. Monetary Policy Committee, it's hard to see any reason why they should increase rates right now. They've got the increasing stability on the Naira that they were always looking for. And even on the secondary market for the T-bills, rates have started to moderate downwards. So I'll expect to see unchanged MPR after that meeting.
Okay, so Egie, what kind of then impact are you expecting in the secondary or primary T-bill market, and of course the auction as well? The Naira auction.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
With regards to the impact of the overall monetary policy environment and the inflation number that is set to be released, what kind of impact are you expecting on the secondary and primary T-bill market, and also on the auctioning off of the currency?
In terms of those markets, again, as I've said before, inflation has pretty much very little to do with those markets. So, inflation numbers on their own won't have any impact. The question is whether the inflation numbers signify a change in MPR. And in that case, if there's an MPR change, it'll have an impact on the short term for some of those markets. You'll probably see trading subside significantly on Monday. But once it's very clear which direction MPR is going, activities should resume as normal. In terms of the DM auction on the 28th, by the time that auction happens, the change in whatever happens with MPR and CPI would have already been baked into the market and will probably have very little impact on that auction. Demand and supply is really what drives the prices here.
Let's also just move on to the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. They are concerned that around 36 states could face bankruptcy over their debt scenario. Is this now creating a lot of ructions within these states? Is there a concern that the central bank won't step in to assist?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Egie, the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, 36 states could be could face bankruptcy. There is a concern. What kind of impact is this going to have on overall sentiment?
Well, I think, again, some of those statements are they're a bit sensational. The Director General of the Debt Management Office did come out after that statement to say that there was really no cause for alarm and the finances of these states are healthy. I think people need to realize that, we do have 36 states and their financial situations vary very dramatically. Some states get less than 2 billion a month as their federal allocation. Some get 13 billion. Some get as high as, I think, even somebody gets about 14, 15. So they have very different abilities to pay future debts. But also, you need to bear in mind that when the states go to the market to issue bonds, the process is extremely rigorous. As someone who deals with both corporate and states, I'll say the process for the state government bonds is no less rigorous than for corporates. And they have many more hurdles. Before they can go to the market to issue a bond, the Debt Management Office has to approve. And the Debt Management Office will not approve if they have certain ratios out of sync with what is expected to be sustainable. These bonds are all rated by very credible local and international rating agencies. So before they actually get to the market, they've gone through quite a bit, and the odds of any of them defaulting is very slim right now. So, no state bond default in the past 10 years, so I think they actually have the ability to do a bit more borrowing, based on the revenues they have as of now.
So, Egie, let's also just touch on the Debt Management Office, because they've actually been postponing their bond auction over the past couple of weeks, and we are expecting an auction on the 28th of March. What are the implications going forward?
Implications on the timing?
Yeah, and the timing, and with regards to the fact that they've postponed it, are we going to see an increase in demand? What are you expecting?
Yes, I mean, that postponement, I mean, it sounds a lot like February, when it was postponed until 29th of February. Here it's going to 28th. Again, that timing is done to take advantage of the federal allocation, which is supposed to come out sometime late next week. The question is whether the T-bill market will get in the way, which is pretty much what has happened. In January, they had an auction on the same day as the T-bill auction, so the bond auction didn't do that well. In February, there were many open market operation days going into the bond auction, probably for 5 days in a row. The central bank was mopping up liquidity. And again, that had an impact on the bond auction because the 2019 bond actually sold at a higher yield in February than in January. So in terms of March, we do have some T-bill auctions. There's a T-bill auction on the 22nd. Even though there are a number of maturities on the 22nd also. And so the impact could be that we don't get any significant improvement, even though it's timed to take advantage of the federal allocation.
Fantastic, Iggy. We have to leave it there. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend.